Hello! A blessed day everyone! Welcome to another episode of Grade 7 HALINA'T MATH-TUTO sa Dasmariñas North National High School TV. I am your teacher lecturer today, Mrs. Karen Rosa Lapar, teaching multiplying polynomials using models and algebraic methods. Objectives: determine the algebraic methods in the given factors. Use of algebra tiles as models to find the product of two binomials, product of the sum and difference of two terms, square of a binomial, and use of algebraic methods to find the product of two binomials, product of the sum and difference of two terms, square of a binomial, cube of a binomial, product of a binomial, and a trinomial. Let's review. Find the product of the following. Number 1. M times M. Using the laws of exponents, having the same base, copy the base, then add their exponents. You notice there is no exponent in letter M, but there is an invisible 1 in each literal coefficient. So m raised to 1 plus 1 is equal to m squared. Number 2, k squared times 3k. Remember that the literal coefficient and numerical coefficient, multiply them using laws of exponent. Let's first multiply invisible 1 times 3, numerical coefficient, then the literal coefficient k squared times k using the laws of exponent. Same base, add their exponents. So the product is 3k cubed. Number 3, negative 4n cubed times negative 5n times negative 2n squared. First, multiply the numerical coefficients. Negative 4 times negative 5 times negative 2. If you notice, there are 3 negative numbers. So the answer is always negative if we have odd negative numbers. But if we have even negative numbers, the answer is always positive. So negative 4 times negative 5 times negative 2 is equal to negative 40. Then, let's proceed in multiplying literal coefficient. Using the laws of exponent, same base, add their exponents. N cubed times n squared is equal to n raised to the 6th power. The product is negative 40 n raised to the 6th power. Number 4, xy times xy times xy times xy. Since we have common literal coefficient x and y, we just simply copy the base xy, then add their exponents, invisible 1 exponent. There are 4 xy factors, so we have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 4. So x, y, quantity raised to 4. Using laws of exponent, power per power, multiply the exponent to the inner exponent, which is invisible 1, 4 times 1 times 4 times 1, which is x raised to the 4th power, y raised to the 4th power. Last, number 5, as I recall, get the product using the laws of exponent. A squared b squared c cubed times negative 2a cubed bc squared negative 3ab. Let's combine or multiply the numerical coefficient 1 times negative 2 times negative 3. If you notice, there are 2 negative numbers. They are even. So the answer is always positive, positive 6. Then using the laws of exponent and the literal coefficient, simply add their exponent with the same base. So the answer is 6a raised to the 6th power, b raised to the 4th power, and c raised to the 5th power. Let's get the product using the now algebra tiles. Let us first represent the following tiles. The first tile is a bigger square. color black, that represents positive x squared. The longer bar, color black, represents positive x. The smaller square, color black, represents positive 1. The opposite of this color is white. White color represents negative tiles. Bigger square represents negative x squared. A longer bar, negative x, and the smaller square, negative 1. Given the algebra tiles, write the algebraic expression. Number 1. How many squares do we have? What sign if we have color black? So since there are two squares, bigger squares, that is color black, that is positive 2x squared. Number 2, color white represents negative terms, negative numbers. Since we have longer bars, they are all white. The answer is negative 4x. Number 3, how many small squares do we have in number 3? There are 3 white smaller squares. They represent negative, so this is negative 3. For more examples, number 1, let's use algebra tiles to write an algebraic expressions. In number 1, there are 2 bigger squares. That represents positive because they is color black. Positive 2x squared. The longer bars, color black, represents positive x. There are 3, so 3x. And the last shape for number 1 is smaller square. 1, there are only 1, so that is positive 1. The algebraic expression for this number 1 is 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Number 2, the first shape is bigger square, which is color white, represents negative term. So negative 1x squared. Then we have the longer bar, color white, that represents negative x. Then we have the smaller square. We only have one smaller square that represents negative 1. The algebraic expression for number 2 is negative x squared minus x minus 1. Number 3, there are 2 black larger or bigger squares that represents positive 2x squared. The next tiles are 3 white longer bars. They represent as negative 3x. And there are smaller square, only have one smaller square, that is positive 1. The algebraic expression is 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. The last number 4, we have color white, larger square, which represent negative x squared, and 2 color black, larger square. 2 larger squares represents positive 2x squared. If you notice, they are opposite. We have color white and color black, positive and negative color types. Using 0 pairs, we cancel 1 black and 1 white. Positive, negative makes the equation 0. when we add or subtract. Okay. We have 0 pairs. The remaining is 1x squared. Then, longer bar color white, which represent negative 1x or negative x. Then we have positive 1x or positive x. Opposite colors are 0 pairs. So we cancel both white and black tiles. That is equal to 0. Then we have smaller white tiles, square. We have 4, negative 4. The algebraic expressions for this is negative 4. Then we have positive 2. We have smaller black squares. We need to cancel again opposite colors, which is 0 pair. We have 1 pair, 2 pairs. The remaining is 2 white squares, small squares. The answer is negative 2. The algebraic expression is x squared minus 2. The use of algebra tiles using T-chart. What product is shown in the diagram that models x plus 1 times x plus 2? First, we need to write the first factor in horizontal alignment, and x plus 2, the second factor, in horizontal alignment, x plus 1 in vertical alignment. X represents longer bar, positive siya, so we have positive x color block, longer bar tile. Then we have positive 2, smaller square, color block, positive x, positive 1. Get the product. 1x times 1x is 1x squared. 1x times 1 is positive 1x. 1x times 1 is positive 1x. 1 times 1x is positive 1x or x. 1 times 1 is positive 1 and 1 times 1 is positive 1. The square, the product is x squared. How many longer bar color block do we have? 3x. And smaller square we have 2. So x squared plus 3x plus 2. Number 2, what product is shown in the diagram that models x minus 1 times x plus 2? So x, longer bar, color black, since this is positive. Then we have positive 2 black squares, smaller one. Then we have x, longer bar, color black, and negative 1 color white, smaller square. Then let's get the product using algebra tiles. 1 times 1, 1x times 1x is 1x squared or x squared. 1x times 1 is 1x. 1x times 1 is 1x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, and negative 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. The product is, if we notice that they are colored counter, negative and positive, we cancel the 1 pair, 1 white and 1 black, 0 pair. So the answer is, product is x squared plus remaining 1x minus 2 smaller squares. Number 3, what product is shown in the diagram that models x minus 2 times x plus 2? Positive x, we have color black, longer bar. Positive 2, 2 smaller squares, color black. Positive x, longer bar, color black. And negative 2, color white, 2 smaller squares. Get the product. Positive 1x times 1x is 1x squared. Positive 1 times positive 1x times positive 1 is positive 1x. 1x times 1 is 1x. Positive 1 times negative 1 times positive 1x is equal to negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1, negative 1, negative 1 times negative 1, negative 1, the same as follows. Next, since we have opposite colors, two zero pairs, we need to cancel one black, one white, and another one black and one white. The remaining is 0. We don't have x term. So the product is x squared. Then the remaining tiles, smaller square, is 4 white tile. So negative 4x squared minus 4 is the product. Number 4. What product is shown in the diagram that models x minus 2 times x minus 2 or x minus 2 quantity squared? Since we have common factors, we just copy positive x, color black, longer bar, negative 2, color white, negative 2 smaller squares, the same in the first factor. Then let's get the product. 1x times 1x is 1x squared or x squared. 1x times negative 1 is negative 1x. 1x times negative 1 is negative 1x. Negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 and negative times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 1 times positive 1x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive, the same as follows. Okay. Next. Since we don't have 0 pairs, let's get the product. 1x squared minus 1, 2, 3, 4 longer bar, and they are negative since this is color white, minus 4x, and positive 4 since they are color black. Okay, using algebraic method, let's get the product of two binomials. N minus 5 times n minus 3. Using FOIL method, first to first, outer to outer, inner to inner, and last to last. Let's get the product. N times n is n squared. N times negative 3 is negative 3n. Negative 5 times n is negative 5n. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. The product is n squared minus 3n minus 5n plus 15. But this is not a simplified term. Simplified form. We need to combine like terms. Negative 3n and negative 5n are similar terms. They have common literal coefficient. Okay, same sign add. We just add them. 3 plus 5 is 8. Then we just need to copy their sign, which is negative 8. Copy the literal coefficient n. Okay, the answer is n squared minus 8n plus 15. We just copy n squared and copy positive 15. Next, number 2. Using FOIL method again, first to first, k times k is k squared. K times 5 is 5k. 2 times k is positive 2k. Positive 2 times positive 5 is positive 10. Combine similar terms, positive 5k Positive 2k are similar terms. 5 plus 2 is 7. We just copy k, the literal coefficient. Same sign, add. Copy their sign, positive 7k. The product is k squared plus 7k plus 10. We just copy k squared and copy 10, positive 10. Number 3, get the product of 4y plus 5z and 6y minus 7z. FOIL method, first to first, 4 times 4 is 24, y times y is y squared. Then 4 times 6 is 20. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28, y times z is yz. 5 times 6 is positive 30, positive 5 times 6 is positive 30, times c times y is positive 30 yz. Positive times negative is negative. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Z times z is z squared. The product is 24y squared minus 28yz plus 30yz minus 35z. We need to change it, to simplify it by combining similar terms. We arrange the letters in alphabetical order. So we have negative 28yz plus 30yz are similar terms. Different sign, subtract. So mas malaki si 30 kapag in absolute value. We need to copy the sign of 30. Positive 2. Different sign, we need to subtract it. Positive 2. Then, copy yz, the literal coefficient. The product is 24y squared plus 2yz minus 35z squared. Letter B. Find the product of sum and difference of two terms. Number 1, in letter A, product of two binomials. We use FOIL method. In letter B, product of sum and difference of two terms, we use only FL method. First and last method. Why? Because they are identical and they are positive and negative signs. If they have an identical terms but opposite in sign, we only use FL method. Always remember that sum and difference or positive negative will result to negative. So positive times negative is negative, m times m is m squared, and p times p is p squared. The product is m squared minus p squared. The next, number 2, 2w plus 3z times 2w minus 3z. The same literal term, the same numerical term, but opposite in sign. We use FL. First to first and last to last. 2 times 2 is 4, w times w is w squared, 3 times 3 is 9, and z times z is z squared. Positive times negative is negative. So the answer is 4w squared minus 9z squared. Last number, we have fraction. In fraction, we need to multiply 1 times 1, the numerator to numerator, and denominator to denominator. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. Then, the literal coefficient, p times p is p squared. Negative times positive is negative. Then, 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Q times q is q squared. The product is 1/4 p squared minus 4/9 q squared. Letter C. Let's get the square of a binomial. If you notice, the given items are squared of a binomial. In these factors, we need to write all the signs before we go to the step by step. Okay, number 1, since the operation is addition, all signs are positive. And number 2, since the operation is subtraction, the sign is negative and positive for the middle term and the last term. The same in number 4. Again, if we have positive or addition operation, all positive terms. If we have negative or subtraction operation, we have negative, positive for the middle term and last term. Okay, next. Let's proceed now. First step. First step, we need to square the first term. Then, second step, we need to multiply always number 2, the square, to the first term and the second term. Then, the last step is to square the last term. Get the product. X times x is x squared. 2 times x is 2x times 2 is 4x. 2 times 2 is 4. So, the product is x squared plus 4x plus 4. Number 2. First step, square the first term. Y times y is y squared. Then, always multiply 2 by the first term and the second term. 2 times y times 3. Then, square the last term. 3 times 3 or negative 3 times negative 3. Number 2, the product is y squared. 2 times y times 3 is 6y minus 6y. Then negative 3 times negative 3. Exponent tells how many times the base is multiplied. We need to multiply negative 3 twice. So, negative 3 times negative 3. Not the other way, negative 3 times 2 is not negative 6. It should be negative 3 times negative 3. The answer is positive 9. The product is y squared minus 6y plus 9. Number 3, the square of 2p plus q. Square first the term, then always multiply by 2 the first and the last term. Then the last step is to get the square of the last term. 2 times 2 is 4, p times p is p squared, so 4p squared. 2 times 2p is 4p times q is 4pq. Q times q is q squared. The product is 4p squared plus 4pq plus q squared. Number 4, the square of 3 minus x is equal to, first step is to square the first term, 3 squared. Then always multiply 2 by the first and second term or last term. 2 times 3 times x. And the last step is to square the last term, x squared. How many times will we multiply 3? Twice. So 3 times 3 is 9. Not 3 times 2, 6. That is wrong. So 3 times 3 is 9. Then 2 times 3 is 6 times x is 6x. Then x times x is x squared. We just bring down all the signs, minus and plus. So 9 minus 6s plus x squared. The product of number 4. Last number 5, the square of 2n plus 3. Get first the square of first term, 2n. Then always multiply 2 by the first and last term, 2 times 2n times 3. Then square the last term, 3 times 3. Get the product, 2 times 2 is 4, n times n is n squared, so 4n squared. 2 times 2n is 4n, times 3 is 12n. Then how many times will we multiply 3? Twice. 3 times 3 is 9. So the product is 4n squared plus 12n plus 9. Letter D, the cube of a binomial. The same process in letter D, but this time, we have 4 terms. The product of cube of binomial is 4 terms. The product of the square of a binomial is 3 terms. Okay, number 1. Cube of binomial, if we have the operation subtraction, or we have minus sign, the signs are negative, positive, negative for the second, third, and last term. The same in number 2. But if we have positive operation, the signs are all positive. Okay, now, let's proceed with the first step. First step is to cube the first term, a raised to the third power. Second step is to multiply 3 to the square of first term times the second term or last term. Always square the first term to get the second term. Then, next step, the third step is to multiply always 3 by the first term, then square the last term, multiply it by the product of 3 and the first term. Then last step is to cube the last term, 3 cube. Let's get the product. A times A times A is A cube. We just bring down minus. Then 3 times A is A squared. 3A squared. Times 3 is 9A squared. 3 times A is 3A. Times 3 is 9A. Times 3 again, 9, 27A. So, last, bring down natin ang negative sign. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 again, the answer is 27. The product is A cubed minus 9A squared plus 27A minus 27. Number 2, cube first term. Always multiply 3 by the square of first term and second term. Multiply the number 3, the cube, or 3 times the first term, then the square of the second term. And last step is to cube the last term. How many times we will multiply 2? 3 times. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Next, we just bring down negative. Multiply. Let's multiply. Use the PEMDAS. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 3 is 12. Times B is 12B. Next, 3 times 2 is 6 times B is 6B squared. Last, B times B is B cubed. The product is 8 minus 12B plus 6B squared minus B cubed. In the standard form, negative B cubed plus 6B squared plus minus 12B plus 8. Number 3. First step, cube the first term, 2x. Second step, always multiply 3 by the square of first term, then the last term. Third step, 3 times the first term times the square of the last term. The last step is to cube the last term. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. X times x times x is x squared. X cubed, I mean. So, 8x cubed. 3, okay, using PEMDAS, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Times 3 is 12x squared. Times y is 12x squared y. Then next, y times y is y squared. Times 2x is 2xy squared. Times 3 is 6x squared. 6xy squared. Last term, y times y is y squared times y is y cubed. The product is 8x cubed plus 12x squared y plus 6xy squared plus y cubed. Number 4, the cube of x plus 3y. First step, cube the first term, x. Second step, 3 times the first square of first term times the last term. Third step, 3 times the first term times the square of the last term. And the last step is to cube the last term. X times x times x is x cubed. X times x is x squared times 3 is 3x squared times 3 is 9x squared y times y is 9 x squared y. 3x times x is 3x times 3 times 3 is 27 times y is 27xy squared plus 3y times 3y is 9y squared times 3y is 27y cubed. Last example. The cube of 3 minus b. First step, cube the first term. Second step, 3 times the square of the first term times b, the last term. Then, third step, 3 times the first term times the square of the last term. Then, the cube of the last term. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. Times b is 27b. 3 times 3 is 9 times b is 9b squared. b times b is b cubed. We just copy, bring down the signs. The product is 27 minus 27b plus 9b squared minus b cubed. The last product, algebraic method, product of a binomial and a trinomial. First, using the distributive property of multiplication, we multiply the first term of a binomial by a trinomial. Next, -7, the second term of a binomial, to the trinomial. Then, let's multiply. A times a is a squared, a cubed. A times -5a is -5a squared. A times 4 is positive 4a. -7a squared is -7a squared. -7 times -5a is positive 35a. Then -7 times positive 4 is -28. The product is a cubed minus 5a squared plus 4a minus 7a squared plus 35a minus 28. We need to combine similar terms to simplify. We have common terms -5a squared and -7a squared. Same sign, add -12, then just copy a squared. 4a and 35a are similar terms. Same sign, add. 4 plus 35 is 39. We just copy a. We bring down -28. So the product is a cubed minus 12a squared plus 39a minus 28. Number 2, the same process. We need to multiply the first term to the trinomial, then the second term of a binomial to the trinomial. A times 3 is 3a. A times -8a is -8a squared. A times positive 4a squared is positive 4a cubed. Then -2 times 3 is -6. -2 times -8a is positive 16a. -2 times positive 4a squared is -8a squared. We need to combine similar terms. We have common 3a and 16a. Same sign, add 19a. Common similar terms, -8a squared and -8a squared. Same sign, -8, -8. Add them, same sign, -8, -8, -16. We just copy their sign, negative. Then copy a squared, -16a squared. Bring down 4a cubed, bring down -6. In standard form, we arrange the exponent in descending order. 4a cubed minus 16a squared, then plus 19a, and minus 6. Their sign is on the left side. Okay, next. Number 3. Get the product of 2x times the trinomial and the second term of a binomial times the trinomial. 2x times x squared is 2x cubed. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. 1 times x squared is 1x squared. 1 times x is 1x, and 1 times 1 is 1. Remember that we omit 1 as numerical coefficient. It is invisible 1. the same as in exponent. The product is 2x cubed, since we have similar terms, 2x squared and x squared. 2 plus 1 is 3. We just fix x squared. Then 2x and x are similar terms. We just affix x, then 2 plus 1, divisible 1 is 3, 3x. The product is 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 3x plus 1.
And that will be all for today's episode. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe in our YouTube channel so you will be always updated with our latest video tutorial in HALINA'T MATH-TUTO.